Hello, welcome back. Let's start that again. So again, this is, you'll see some names off to the left with the superstar abilities, and you'll notice those are certainly not from today. That is the 64 Vikings. This is a basic kind of a test run, a preview for the Sack to the Future community. Of course, if you don't know what Sack to the Future is, we started back in 1960, kind of replaying the NFL through Madden. So of course you have to stay with the Madden rules and all that, and much more, passing because of that. But we do the best we can. So this is a test to see if we're going to move from Madden 18 up to Madden 20. So the Vikings have been partially customized to reflect the 1964 team. At least the starters are from 1964. Most of the backups are from. The Bengals are untouched. They're just the baseline 2019 team. And I'll go ahead and control the Bengals. And we'll see how the Vikings do. See if the computer can activate any of those abilities that you see over on the left. And we'll do a little bit of gameplay. We'll do a little bit of simulation. And go from there. So let me go ahead and get this started. All pro, of course. And exhibition is fine. All right, so Madden 20 is here. I've played just a couple basic games with just the base, the 2019 Bears team. Then I went in and did some editing because it's only been a couple games, so there's still some things that could go wrong. But so far, everything has felt really smooth, really good. The pass rush is a little intense, but you can get used to that. It's certainly better than have it all day. If you remember the 2018 days, sometimes you would just sit back there and wait for verticals to open and have no problem waiting around. This will be harder unless your offensive line is really good, because just normal pass rush is intense. And then you'll see when I have the ball with Carl Eller and Jim Marshall on each of the ends with their normal abilities, that's going to make things pretty tough, and I'll have to get rid of the ball quicker than normal. And then if they actually activate their superstar abilities, it could get ugly. Could definitely get ugly. So here's the introduction. Bengals coming out. We're in Ball Ground Stadium, Cincinnati. And I'll go ahead and control at least the first quarter. And we'll do some simming in between. Maybe I'll come back for the fourth quarter if it's close. So mostly want to get as much as I can through, as a review here for the guys to see. Okay, so now it's been fixed to where at least Fran Tarkin is the starter there. You see, obviously, that's Pat Mahomes. We can't change the face, or you can change the name, but you cannot change the face or skin color, or you will lose all of your abilities. And the whole reason that Fran Tarkin became was Pat Mahomes was used for Fran Tarkin is so he can have some of that scrambling ability behind the line. Now, when you're in game, if you want to see kind of the abilities there on the line, well, here's the starters real quick. You see Alderman, Pyle, Tinglehawk, Bowie, and Linden. Bedsole, the tight end, Reichow, and forgot the other receiver. But let me show you, if you do the R2 button, then you can go down and you can see Fran Tarkenton's the only guy with skills on the offense. Nobody has skills on the defense. Super skills, I mean. Dunlap, Billings, Glasgow, and Lawson. Defensive line, Brown, Virgil, and Jefferson are the linebackers. Williams and Bates, the safeties. Jackson and Kirkpatrick are the corners. So I said I haven't touched the Bengals, and what I mean is they're not trying to be anything we would use for 1964. But you notice Geno Atkins is missing. That's because he does have skills. So your baseline Bengals team will have Geno Atkins. He will have some skills. So again, when you go to R2 and you push up, when you're on defense, you push up to look at your defense skills. You will see Geno Atkins, but of course, in 64, there is no Bengals, so there's no reason to waste a guy with super skill on the Bengals. So he has been traded. I'm not sure who he became, but he will be somebody on a relevant team. And once you're in a custom franchise mode, or connected franchise, sorry, CFM, then you can indeed change. So if we do move to Madden 20 for Sack to the Future, you will see Fran Tarkenton, will be a little bit paler skinned man, and his face will not look exactly like Patrick Mahomes, but he will keep the abilities. There you see the sack there. I'm not sure why they dropped the ball at the end. It makes you think there's fumbles, but I've played a few games and I haven't had, nor have I caused any fumbles so far. So it's not visually it looks like maybe there's a fumbling issue, but they're not real fumbles. There you see a personal foul on the face mask. Penalty still a part of the game, of course. This is just basic all-pro, by the way. All the sliders have been left alone. At 50. Oh, whoops, left gloves on that guy. Again, this is only partially customized. I don't want to obviously waste a bunch of time if the Sack the Future community views this and decides, nope, this is absolutely garbage. We're not going to Madden 20. We're going to stay Madden 18. Then there's no point in customizing the whole league or anything. So I made some name changes. I corrected some equipment, but there's still a lot of work to be done just on the Vikings, let alone the whole entire 1964 league if we went there. See how Brown play defense. They're going to hand it off to Mason. Oh, nice spin move. That's what a normal spin move looks like. If you get to a guy with some super spin skill, who might be like maybe a Cookie Gilchrist if we went to 1964, or something like that, then you might see the spin activate a little quicker and be more effective. That was just your normal Tommy Mason type regular spin. Did stop him short of first down, which is nice. What are they going to do? They're going to go for the field goal. This is not, again, Sack to the Future ratings, so field goals, I think this is, I haven't done the kicker. This is Dan Bailey, I believe, so you can probably make it from here, but he actually does miss. Of course, in Sack to the Future, we will never be going for 54-yard field goals. Unless there's a ton of wind behind you. As the kickers are much worse, of course, if you've watched any Sack to the Future. Or if you just know any 1960s football, you'll know the field goal kicking. Not what it is today. It's a 4-yard completion out to Boyd. Okay, so now that I'm on offense, let me check R2. Down, that's my skills, nothing. Defensive skills, got Paul Krause. Paul Krause apparently is the only one. I don't believe that's true because, oh, okay. Yep, so the R2. Let me make sure this is correct. What the hell? They're not starting Marshall or Eller again. I don't know what is wrong with the computer. So I already fixed this. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and just play this through. But why? Oh, no, it says he's starting. No idea why they would let Weatherly come in. Well, anyways, you see unstoppable force on both Eller and Marshall. So if they actually let their guys play, it'll be a much harder game for me. But if they want to throw the bench guys in there, then we'll see if I can drive down the field. Only Kraus is in. Or the only guy with skills is Kraus at the moment. I hit possession catch too quick, so that made me go straight to the ground. Let's take a look at the jet. There's more jet sweeps and RPO in Madden 20, of course. Take a look at a jet sweep now. Blown up. They refused to put Eller or Jim Marshall in, which is sad for all of us. And that's the pump fake. Wanted to throw it out of bounds, but of course it's a pump fake instead. So obviously, anytime you get a new game, we'll have to relearn some of the new controls. The pump fake is more effective in Madden 20, but sometimes you just want to throw the ball away, and then you forget and hit the pump fake. Now, I said earlier that the pass rush is better than it is in Madden 18, and that is true. When you put in all your backups, it's not really reflecting it right now, as I had time to wait for that in to develop. But if Carl Eller and Jim Marshall were in there, then you should see more of a pass rush.
It's just me and you. It's just me and you.
But right now, I'm pretty easily tearing apart their secondary, which is interesting. There's Gio Bernard taking a shot from Roy Winston. Ah, it's tipped up and almost intercepted. Now, one thing that is absolutely incredibly great, I don't know what, I'm searching for words here, but one thing that is absolutely fantastic is the jumping linebacker picking stuff off that's supposed to be 15 yards past him or over his head is not a thing. See, that one was, I'm trying to get to the back of the end zone. I threw the bullet instead, so that should be more of a straight line, and that is accurate that the linebacker should be able to knock that down. If it was a touch pass, it would have went over his head. Although 5 yards, you might still be able to make it 5 yards, but you see more likely they're going to knock it down like that rather than having these jumping interceptions. And you're just like, oh, I didn't realize all these 73 ranked linebackers were God tier Hall of Famers. So we'll settle for 3 here. Kicking's the exact same. Now, Fred Tarkenton has again, if we look at his abilities, the top one is it says that's the one you have to work for to activate. When he's got that activated, you'll see the X. Right now he has an X on him because he always has these other X abilities down here, the no-look Deadeye, dashing Deadeye. He can do that at any time. But, see, those are activated. So he's got those regardless, but if he activates gets himself in the zone, then you'll see that X turn to like a red flashing X. That allows him to throw the ball 15 yards farther while he's in the zone. Not necessarily a Fran targeted thing, but the other things that Pat Mahomes has is what I wanted Tarkenton to have. So you just live with the fact that if you let Tarkenton get off, he's going to be able to start throwing the ball too far. So there's Virgil with an interception. I want to take a look at that replay just to make sure it's not confused with, again, earlier I said that the God tier linebackers are not a thing anymore, or at least they haven't been so far. But if you look at this throw, so he's trying to hit this spot, which is, again, it's only 2 yards away, 2 to 3 yards behind him. So it was in the old game, if you were trying to hit this guy over here, but let's say he was 5 yards deeper, then this linebacker would still be able to do this, pick it off. In this game, had the pattern been out here and he threw it, the linebacker would not be able to have a super jump and catch it. One of these guys have to come up and make a play, or more likely it would just be complete. But here, if you're within 3 yards, 2 to 3 yards, then you can still make a play on the ball, which is what he picks it off. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's show what it looks like Super Sim, because of course that is a thing sometimes in Back to the Future. So let's take a look at simulation style football for a little bit. Okay. Took an extremely long time to snap the ball, but that's probably because I did simulation in the middle of calling the play. Hopefully. I don't know. I haven't actually gone to simulation in the middle of a game before. So here's Mixon getting the ball, 1 yard gain. See, most of the presentation is the same near the top. They kind of give you a rundown of what's going on. There's not much change there. I honestly don't know if simulation will look any different than Madden 18 or not. There's a quick throw. It's very annoying that the two starters they decide not to use are Eller and Marshall.
Oh yeah, I'm coming. Oh yeah, I'm coming. Check 50, check 50.
Dalton to throw again, and that's incomplete. Now you saw it popped up bullet pass inaccurate. So another thing about Madden 20, and this is not much different from Back to the Future because, of course, I do the ratings for Back to the Future, and I already know that this is the way EA Sports should have been for a long time, but EA Sports has finally caught up, and there is a skill gap or a ratings gap that you can definitely notice. So Andy Dalton, a starting caliber quarterback, will still make throws where he misses throws like that. The backups will definitely look even worse than that. So this year there's finally, I mean, again, this is only probably like the third game I played or so, but there appears to be a definite distinction between the stars, because the stars have the super abilities, although we haven't seen any activated yet, but when they activate them, you'll see that they're special. And I mean, nobody else, Dalton could not do some of the things Sarkisian can do. There's just no doubt. He cannot do it. So the skills separate the really greats, or the all-time greats, from the good to great players. Then the good to great players still are separated from the average starters like Dalton is. He's a starter. He's not bad. He's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the world. But he's just not a star. He can't do any of those star things. Sometimes he'll throw inaccurate passes, as we saw in his last one. But then if he gets hurt and you go to Dalton's backup, then you're going to see even more often of those inaccurate passes. So the rating skill, there's many quarterbacks in the default roster that are in the 50s, which is absolutely fantastic. So when you have a Tarkinen, ranked in the 90s, and other people's, like maybe even his own backup, his first level backups in the 60s, and then if that guy gets hurt, you go down to 50s. You can see how losing your starting quarterback, if you have a star quarterback, could completely ruin your season. And thank God for that, because old Maddens, you throw almost as well with a 75 rated. Trying to think of an example. You could use someone like, like with the Bears, Mitchell Trubisky. You could have almost as good of a game, and since he gives you some scrambling, you actually have in some ways a easier game as Trubisky than like Tom Brady, which is absolutely stupid. It should not be close at all, and in Madden 20 it finally feels like it is not close. But again, this review is, I mean, I'll throw a little bit of stuff in there, just Madden 20 in general. So far, I love the game. 3 games into it, and we'll call this a half game because I'm not really playing the whole thing, so 3.5 games. I absolutely think it's an improvement for sure. But for Sack to the Future purposes, that's what we still got to figure out, because I already had those rating separations in the Sack to the Future game. So you can just see, whoa. That was an odd animation, which, it's Madden, so of course it's still going to have those kind of problems, no doubt about it. But I was going to say that you'll just ask Jim Brown if you don't think that there's already been a rating separation done in Sack to the Future. But, I'm also excited about the simple fact that because of that separation, you don't come in rated one anymore, so everything's kind of been scaled back a little bit. The guys that are supposed to be starters, will still come in, possibly hit 80, more likely mid 70s and stuff, and then the guys that are just supposed to learn for a couple of years and play special teams, they'll come in 60s or even 50s, which will just make it easier for me because I won't have to sit there and downgrade every single player. I'll only have to downgrade a few that they miss out. Quick throw. Now you've seen Fran Tarkenton's, his X lit up. That's not the zone activated one. He obviously wasn't using more power for his throw on that one, but I'm trying to figure out which one that would have been. It may have been, they may have considered that pressure around him already, and he has good accuracy when under pressure. There you saw a touch pass from Tarkenton. It said inaccurate, but so that's an inaccurate pass for him. But since he's a star quarterback, even the inaccurate pass is still catchable. Where you saw Dalton's inaccurate pass was absolutely pathetic. I didn't even think there was much of a problem with that pass. Smith didn't have to jump backwards to catch it or anything. I'm not sure why they called it inaccurate. I guess he didn't lead the receiver as much as he may have wanted to, but still okay pass in my book. Oh, there's Brown making a breaking one tackle. He has 6 carries, 26 yards. So I'm sure the Sack to the Future guys will respond to me offline about this here. If anybody else that watches this, just Madden 20 in general, you can certainly comment below how you think it looks. If you've played it yourself, what good and bad you're finding. And if you're into custom rosters at all, you can certainly comment below on any tricks that you've learned, or if you have any questions. Again, I'm big time into the historical rosters, obviously being part of the Sack to the Future thing. Which, by the way, if you're wondering what the Sack to the Future thing is, the Vinny X Wolf channel is where you want to go, because that's where all the saved playlists are. 1960, 61, 62, and we're currently in 1963. All those are using Madden 18. This is again the question: do we go to Madden 20 for the 1964 season? And if you are a custom rosters builder, again, the couple key things that I've learned so far is you can change the names, you can even change height and weight and ratings, and all of those things will allow you to still keep your abilities. But if you touch the look, if you touch the skin color or the face, then all the skills go away. So again, if I were to touch Pat Mahomes' face or skin color, then Fran Tarkenton would have absolutely no skills. So that's unfortunate for play now, because especially when you're going the further back in history you go, if you're going all the way back to 64, then there's more of the league. The league was a higher percentage Caucasian. That's just what it was in 64, and of course now it is not. So there are going to be some times, especially if you're looking for guys for skills, like Jim Taylor of the Packers is a very good running back in history. Of course, he is Caucasian, white, and there are not going to be, outside of Christian McCaffrey, any white running backs in Madden that have skills. There you see Tarkenton ran around, and that's not how he's supposed to use that scrambling skill. You're not supposed to just run straight backwards and make it a 20-yard sack. But the AI is still the AI, so you certainly see that AI play has not really improved in Madden 20. That is unfortunate. And by the way, if Tarkenton had that red X lit up, oh, there you saw. Okay, so there, I don't know if you caught that on that. If not, just rewind it a minute. But on that pass, it was an accurate, but it didn't just say accurate pass. It said dead eye. So that was him using his skill. When he went to throw, you could see the X lit up orange real quick, orange reddish, and then at the bottom, just like for previous where it said bullet pass inaccurate from Andy Dalton, there it said touch dead eye. That's because of one of his dead eye abilities that he has, which again just helps you be extra accurate Not sure which one that was. It wasn't red zone because they were outside of the red zone. He has red zone deadeye, and then he has another deadeye accuracy as well. So I know he wasn't scrambling much, but he must not have had his feet set, and so then he used his throwing on the run deadeye ability to make sure that was an accurate pass, even though his feet were not perfectly set. So other quarterbacks would have to have their feet set better than that to make that same throw, is basically what I'm trying to say. All right, well, we'll watch one more play, and then I will take over the Bengals and try to win the game, in quotes, if you will, before the half. There you see bullet pass accurate. Not sure why I did a bullet pass on the screen, but whatever. It was accurate, at least. They're going to... They might not give me any time. I'm trying to exit this so that we could drive down and see if we can win the game, because this is, again, just a review. So just want to keep it down to a half if possible. So I'll have to burn the timeout, but now we'll go ahead and try to drive down the field and pretend this is the end of the game instead of just the first half. Cross is still the only one, but he is a pick artist, and he excels in zone coverage. So we want to remember that if it looks like they're playing zone, we don't want to give him a pick. And there's that pass rush I was talking about. That is not Carl Eller or Jim Marshall. Oh, Marshall did get his way onto the field, though. I don't believe that was either one of those two. But in general, the pass rush is... Nope, they're not in the field right now. Is amped up a little bit. Oh! And that was a nice completion to Ross, although I'm not sure how the defensive... That's, again, the AI logic, unfortunately, is still flawed. And there's a sack to end the first half. All right, so 3-3. Again, comment below if you have any tips on custom rosters other than the ones that I've shared, as far as don't touch the face or the skin color, and you should be able to keep your skills on your players. So if you want to turn Todd Gurley into Walter Payton because you believe his skills match what Walter Payton would have had, then you certainly can call him Walter Payton. But you have to leave him, with his dreads, and you have to, leave him black, of course, which is fine. But you can't touch his face until you then take those rosters into franchise mode. Then you can play with his face all you want. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'm out. I might be back with another review of different games, try to get some of those X Factor abilities to go off. But until then, thanks for watching. And we'll be back on Sack to the Future. There will be a game tonight on the Vinny X Wolf and John M channels. And so that, again, is Madden 18, but we're obviously continuing with that. We'll announce a decision sometime, during the 63 season. We'll announce if 64 will be on 18 or go into 20. Let me know what you think below. Have a good day, everyone. Peace.